Good morning. Turned off. It's funny how vocal folds do that. If you try to go higher and higher, at some point they'll just be like, nah. Good morning, Dr. Punk. How are you? Abby, really, how are you doing? I know life has been very hard recently. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. ואהבת את ענת אלוהיך ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר נחי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך וחיה כי הביאך אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר נשבע לאבותיך לאברהם ליצחק וליעקב לתת לך עברים גדולות וטובות אשר לא בנית ובתים מלאים כל טובה אשר לא מילאת וברואת הצווים אשר לא עשת בקרבים וזיתים אשר לא נתת והלכת ושבעת הישמר לך פן תשכח את יהוה אשר הוציאך מארץ מצרים מבת עבדים. Repeat, repeat, repeat. All is one. Remember that all that is yours comes from suffering. So the prayer says. Were you locked out of the server? Like, were you unable to post for several days? You kept trying to get in and it said server updating. Get into where? I'm glad to hear you're better. I'm sure things are still hard. So, it said it on TikTok. Your TikTok was acting weird. Well, it's a silly app. I'm happy to see you too, pal. I've started posting again. Did you see? I posted a dumpster video. It did okay. It did okay. You'll send me a screenshot. Yeah, I'm gonna post again tomorrow. I think I'm going to be try to posting every other day. We'll see if I pull it off. We will see if I pull it off. But I'm teaching a class starting on Tuesday. Teaching a class, and my students are going to be posting twice a week. So if my students are posting twice a week, I'll be posting twice a week at least. That's the bare minimum. And I'd really like to be posting more like 4 times a week, 3 or 4 times a week. So we'll see if I can pull that off. Yeah. I'm happy to be back too. So today we are going to conclude. These are the final pages of the Baal cycle. And they're perhaps the most dense and imagery rich of the entire sequence, the entire tablet series. So we're going to dwell on these for a little bit, and I hope you enjoy them. So I guess to summarize this whole story, right? So these are tablets that were found in ancient Ugarit, in the ruins of the city of Ugarit, in the Syrian coast, what is now Syria, and they're dated to around 3,600 years ago. That was when the scribe Ilimiku of Shubani. Here, let me switch this so you can read it. How do I flip camera, mirror my video? Yeah, okay. So the scribe Ilimiku of Lubani, right, wrote this entire series of myths that we have, right? It's because of his archival work, preservation work. He took these oral stories and he wrote them down for the first time ever, perhaps, or certainly the last time that we have recorded, or somewhere in between, right? So archaeologists found these tablets about a century ago and translated them, and so we have this story of Baal the Conqueror, Baal, the king of the gods, who, over the course of the story, gains his throne and then loses it, as happens with kings, particularly in this region at this time, right? You would conquer to win your throne, and then someone else would conquer you. That was the story of history for thousands of years. So Baal conquers the serpent of the sea, Ashura's son, Ashura's darling, and in so doing he becomes king of the gods. El is no longer the king. Baal becomes king, and he demands, build me a palace, build me a palace. So he builds a palace. Baal builds a palace on the heights of Mount Zaphon, his holy mountain, right? Just like Yahweh's temple in Jerusalem. At the top of the mountain, there's a palace, there's a temple, and that is where the king reigns. And so Baal makes this palace, but then death comes knocking, and death says, you will come down to the underworld. And Baal says, okay, I guess I will. And Baal dies, and the gods weep. And Anat, his sister, conqueror, concubine, goes down to resurrect him. And so here we are. He's been resurrected. And the serpent of death, right? Mirror image of the serpent of the sea that Baal conquered at the beginning, is now back to fight Baal once again. And we will conclude our story about Baal the Conqueror and his death and resurrection in the land of Canaan. Baal seized Ashura's sons. He struck Rabim on the shoulder. He struck the waves with his club. He pushed sallow death to the ground. Baal returned to his royal chair, to his dais, the seat of his dominion. The days became months. The months became years. Then, in the 7th year, El's son Death spoke to Baal the Conqueror. He raised his voice and shouted, Baal,
Because of you, I suffered shame. Because of you, I suffered splitting with a sword. Because of you, I suffered burning with fire. Because of you, I suffered grinding with a handmill. Because of you, I suffered winnowing with a sieve. Because of you, I suffered scattering in the fields. Because of you, I suffered sowing in the sea. Give me one of your brothers, so that I may sit down and eat. Let Baal give his little brothers for me to eat, his mother's sons for me to consume. He returned to Baal on the peaks of Zaphon. He raised his voice and shouted, Let Baal give his little brothers for me to eat, his mother's sons for me to consume. They butted each other like camels. Death was strong. Baal was strong. They gored each other like wild oxen. Death was strong. Baal was strong. They bit each other like serpents. Death was strong. Baal was strong. They kicked each other like lions. Death fell. Baal fell. They bit each other like serpents, right? Like what image do we have here, right? This is the image that this myth gives us. Death and Baal biting each other like serpents, consuming one another, fighting one another into death and into life. A constant cycle of death and resurrection. Sun shouted from above, Listen, El Sun Death! How can you battle with Baal the Conqueror? How can you keep the bull, El, your father, from hearing you? He will surely undermine the foundations of your throne. He will surely overturn your royal chair. He will surely smash your scepter of judgment. El's son Death became fearful. El's darling, the hero, was terrified. Death was afraid of her voice. But you will eat the sacrificial meal. You will drink the offertory wine. Sun judged the healers. Sun judged the divine ones. God, death is yours. Kothar, your friend, is yours. And in your acquaintance, Hasis. In sea, Desire and the dragon, Kothar Wahasis, wandered. Kothar Wahasis roamed. And with that enigmatic end, we conclude. The scribe was Ilimiku from Shubani. The reciter was Atanu Purlani, the chief priest, the chief herdsman. The sponsor was Nikmadu, king of Ugarit, master of Yargub, lord of Tharumani. And with that, we have concluded the Baal cycle. Good morning, Sarah. How are you? Thank you for reading that with me. Those of you who... none of you were here for all of it, but all of you were here for some of it. And, yeah, it's an important story, I think. So, now we will say Arati. The word Arati means flame in Sanskrit. Light, flame. Here we are. Your energy is immaculate. Thanks for the compliment. Jaya Jayarati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jayarati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jayarati Venugopala Venugopala Venuola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jaya Jayarati Venkantaramana Venkantaramana Sankatarana Sitarama Radhe Shama Jaya Jayarati Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara Jaya Jayarati Raja Rajeshwari Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti and Jaya Jayarati Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumanta, Jaya Jaya Ratiya Dattatreya Trimurti Avatara, Jaya Jaya Ratiya Adityaya Bhaskaraya, Jaya Jaya Rati Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya, Jaya Jaya Rati Sankaracaya Advaita Guravi, Jaya Jaya Rati Sadgurunata Shivananda, Jaya Jaya Rati Vishnu Devananda, Jaya Jaya Rati Agastya Munaye Shriyama Priyaye, Jaya Jaya Rati Ayapa Samine Dharma Shastave, Jaya Jaya Rati Jesus Gurave, Moses Gurave, Buddha Gurave, Jaya Jaya Rati Muhammad Gurave, Guru Nanak Gurave, Samastya Gurubho Namaha, Jaya Jaya Rati Venugopala. Hey Room, what is this about? What is it about? Natatra Siyobati Natanjakaratam Nimavidyobati Kutoyamagni Tomeva Bantamanabandi Sarvam Tasya Basya Samitam Vivanti Om Gange Kayomane Kaiva Govari Saraswati Narmade Siddhi Kaveri Namastutam Namo Namaha. Twameva Mata Chapita Twameva Bandusha Saka Twameva Vidya Dravinam Twameva Sarvam Mama Deva Kayena Vacha Manasindriyarva Budyat Manava Prakrite Sabhavad Karomyadyad Mangalam Parasmahi Narayana Iti Sarmar Payami Sarvadamam Prabhijaya Mamikam Savarnam Braja Aham Sva Sarva Papayo Mokshaya Mima Suja. Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, or my emotions, all these I dedicate to you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Hi, Kimmy. And now we will say Kaddish. Kaddish, the prayer of morning. Like the beginning, so the end, we can remind ourselves that all we have is not ours, not really, not truly. Just as it was given to us, it will be taken away. Just as we received it, we will lose it. And in both there is suffering. And yet we are still alive. We bite each other like serpents. So we say Kaddish to remember those cycles and to mourn the things that we have lost and to acknowledge our suffering. Acknowledge the things in our life that bring us pain. Would you like to say Kaddish with me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We can mourn. I bet you're not the only one who's going to whistle at your door. Do you want to say Kaddish? Probably not.
Is there any rice?
Yes.
Can I eat it?
Yes.
I can say Kaddish.
You can say Kaddish?
Yeah. Wow, I'm dirty. It's fine. Only Facebook will see me.
But what if I eat your breakfast?
Then it would be eaten.
And then more could be made.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I'm ready.
Yitkadav Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah B'yama Divrach Yurte V'yanlich Malchute B'chayachon Uvyamechon Uvchaye Dekol Beit Yisrael Bagala Uvizman Kari V'imru Amen Yehi Shemei Rabbah Miva'arach Le'olam Almei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yitraman V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yithaleh V'yithalal Shemei Dekudisha Barechu Le'elam Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Diamiran B'yama V'imru Amen Oh, say shalom.
Yehei.
Oh.
Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya v'chaim aleinu v'al Yisrael v'imru amen. Oh, say shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al Yisrael v'imru amen.
Hi, folks.
Hi. Oh, say shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al chol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Ya'aseh shalom.
Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al chol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al chol ha'olam. Thanks, everyone.
Still sleeping. Still trying.
My room has gotten full all of a sudden, so I'm going to leave. But thank you so much for being here with us today. I will see you here tomorrow to say these words once more. Okay, farewell.
Going to bed, Trusley.